Chur everybody, NZ Blasian here, back with another squad builder type video. As this time around I have Morant at a 99 overall at 5'4" with 64 badges. Jaren Jackson Jr. joins him, and Desmond Bain, Stephen Adams, Dylan Brooks, Tyus Jones, Santi Aldama, John Conchar, Brandon Clark, Xavier Tillman, Zari Williams, Danny Green, Jake LaRavia, David Roddy, Kenny Chandler, Kenneth Lofton Jr., and Vince Williams Jr. are your two-way players, and that makes up your Memphis Grizzlies team. So this time around we have Morant at 5'4". So we got it on Hall of Fame, 12-minute quarters, injuries are turned off, trades are turned off. So we'll get into the simulation. So we'll simulate all of October. So we'll start off with October. So we'll simulate through. So we take a loss to the Knicks, a loss to the Rockets, then get a win over the Mavs, a win over the Nets, a win over the Kings, a win over the Jazz. Back-to-back wins over the Jazz to finish October. So we start off 5-2. So we'll check the loss against the Knicks. Morant with 22 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists, so a triple-double. 15 points for Dylan Brooks, 43 points for Julius Randle, 20 points for Jalen Brunson. In the loss to the Rockets, 25 for Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Green with 24, 46 points and 12 rebounds for Morant, so a double-double. 20 points for Dylan Brooks. And Morant with 46 points and 12 rebounds, so a double-double out here with 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. And then the win against the Mavs, 34 points coming from Luka Doncic, 21 for Christian Wood. Morant with 30 points and 22 rebounds at 5'4", so another double-double. 15 points for John Conchar and 15 points for Tyus Jones. Then the win against the Nets, 35 points, 22 rebounds, and 11 assists for Morant, so a triple-double. 19 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 16 for Dylan Brooks. 23 for Kevin Durant, 19 for TJ Warren, and 12 for Patty Mills. Then the win against the Kings, a 20-piece each for De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray. Sabonis with 19 points and 10 rebounds, so a double-double. 27 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., 22 for Dylan Brooks. 21 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block for Morant, so a triple-double, but he fouls out. And then a win against the Jazz, 22 for Jordan Clarkson, 19 for Lauri Markkanen, and Walker Kessler with 16. A 40-piece, 19 rebounds, and 11 assists for Morant, so a triple-double. 23 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and Santi Aldama with 16 points. Then we move on to the back-to-back wins against the Jazz. 25 points for Colin Sexton, 19 for Kelly Olynyk, 17 for Beasley. 42 points, 11 rebounds, 14 assists for Morant, so another triple-double. And 19 points each for Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. We move on into November with a 5-2 record, so we'll go from November 2nd to November 20th. So we'll simulate through. We take a win to start November against Portland. We take a win against the Hornets. Then we win against Washington, lose against the Celtics, win against the Spurs, lose to Minnesota, win against Washington, win against New Orleans, win against OKC, and win against Brooklyn. So as of November 20th, we've got a 13-win record and 13 wins and 4 losses. So we'll check the win against Portland. 25 points each for Damian Lillard and Jeremy Grant. 45 points and 21 rebounds for Morant, so a double-double. 15 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. Then the win against the Hornets. 43 points, 19 rebounds, and 14 assists for Morant, so a triple-double. 28 for Dylan Brooks and 22 for Jaren Jackson Jr. 36 points for LaMelo Ball. Kelly Oubre Jr. with 17. And then the win against Washington. 44 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists for Morant, so a triple-double. 14 for Tyus Jones, 13 for Dylan Brooks. And then the loss against the Celtics, 41 points and 14 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 19 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 33 points for Jason Tatum, 25 points for Jaylen Brown. And then the win against the Spurs, 18 for Keldon Johnson, 17 for Devin Vassell, 36 points, 20 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 16 for Jaren Jackson Jr., and then the loss to Minnesota, 34 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 25 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 21 for D'Angelo Russell, 18 for Jalen Noel. And then the win against Washington, 35 points coming from Porzingis, 23 points for Bradley Beal, 47 points and 14 rebounds for Ja Morant, so double-double, 24 each for Dillon Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. Then the win against New Orleans, a 20-piece for Zion, 19 for Brandon Ingram, 29 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 19 for Dillon Brooks. And then Ja Morant with 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists, so a triple-double, but he fouls out. Then the win against OKC, 35 points, 23 rebounds, and 22 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 23 for Dillon Brooks and 22 for Jaren Jackson Jr. Then the win against the Nets, 32 points and 13 rebounds for Kevin Durant, so a double-double. Ben Simmons with 20, Kyrie Irving with only 15, 39 points, 18 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 19 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 15 for Dillon Brooks. We move in and finish November, so we'll go from November 20th to December 4th, so we'll simulate through. We take a win against the Kings, then lose to New Orleans, then take a win against the Knicks, and we'll send Kenny Lofton Jr. back to the G League. We'll send Vince Williams Jr. back to the G League. And we take a win to finish November against Minnesota. We start December with a win against the 76ers, and then we win against Detroit. So as of December 4th, we've got an 18-5 record. So we'll check the win against the Knicks. 23 points for Jalen Brunson, 21 for RJ Barrett, a 40-piece with 12 rebounds and 17 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double, 35 points for Dillon Brooks, and then the win against Minnesota, 19 points for D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards with 18, 36 points, 19 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double, 20 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., then the win against the Sixers, 33 points, 18 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 22 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 19 for Tyus Jones. Then the win against Detroit, 25 for Marvin Bagley, 20 for Jaden Ivey, and 16 for Cade Cunningham. 49 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists coming from Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 12 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. And we move on further into December. So we'll go from December 4th to Christmas Day. So we'll simulate through. We take a loss to Miami and we'll re-simulate to Christmas Day. Then we take a big win against OKC, a win against Detroit, then lose to Atlanta, win against Giannis's Bucks, win against OKC, win against Denver. And we simulate to Christmas, and we win against Golden State, and we win against the Suns, and we win against Golden State on Christmas Day. So as of Christmas Day, we've got a 25 wins and 7 losses. So we'll check the loss against Miami. 38 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 17 for Tyus Jones, a 30-piece for Tyler Hero, 22 for Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry with 16, and yeah, Ja Morant with 38, 15, and 10, so another triple-double. And then the win against OKC, a 30-piece with 17 rebounds and 16 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. And 23 points each for Dillon Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. 25 for SGA and Josh Giddey with 19 points and 10 rebounds, so a double-double, but he fouls out. Then the win against Detroit, 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 13 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 16 for Marvin Bagley, 16 for Jalen Duran. And then the loss to the Hawks by 1, 33 points, 17 rebounds, and 16 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 27 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 15 for Roddy. 55 points coming from Trae Young and 21 from Jonte Murray. Then the win against Giannis. 32 points, 25 rebounds, and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 22 for Dylan Brooks. 27 points and 11 rebounds for Giannis, so a double-double. Then the win against OKC. 34 points for SGA, 28 for Chet Holmgren, and 18 for Lou Dort. 48 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 23 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. And then the win against Denver, 17 points for Caldwell Pope, 17 for Michael Porter Jr., 48 points, 21 rebounds, and 15 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 17 points each for Jaren Jackson Jr. and Trey Jones. And then the win against the Suns, 30 piece for Booker, 17 for Dario Saric, 51 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a 50-point triple-double. 20 points for Dylan Brooks and 16 for Jaren Jackson Jr. And then the win on Christmas Day against Golden State, 38 points coming from Steph Curry, 17 for Jordan Poole, and 12 points for Wiggins. 49 points, 18 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 14 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. Then we move on and we'll finish December into January. So we'll go from December 25th to January 14th. So we'll simulate through. We take a win against the Suns, a win against the Raptors, and then lose to New Orleans to finish December. And then we take a win against Sacramento to start January. Take a win against the Hornets, a win against the Magic, a win against the Jazz, a win against the back-to-back wins against the Spurs, and then a win against the Pacers. So as of January 14th, we've got a 34 wins and 8 losses. So we'll check the win against the Suns. 43 points and 12 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 21 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 33 for Devin Booker, 18 points and 10 assists for Chris Paul, so a double-double. Then the win against the Raptors, 23 for Chris Boucher, 19 for Scotty Barnes, and 13 for Pascal Siakam. 58 points, 14 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a 50-point triple-double. 29 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., and then the 2-point loss to New Orleans. 38 points and 14 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 20-piece for Jaren Jackson Jr., 31 points for Zion, Jonas Valanciunas with 20, and Brandon Ingram with only 19. Then the win against the Kings, a 30-piece with 13 rebounds and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 27 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 31 points for Keegan Murray, 22 for De'Aaron Fox, and 18 for Sabonis. Then the win against the Hornets, a 30-piece for LaMelo Ball, 14 for Nick Richards, a 30-piece with 11 rebounds and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 18 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., and 15 for Zari Williams. And then the win against the Magic, 18 points for Bol Bol, 14 for Wendell Carter Jr., and 14 for Cole Anthony. 29 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 27 points, 18 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so another triple-double. Then the win against the Jazz, 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 24 points and 10 rebounds for Jaren Jackson Jr., so a double-double, and 20 points for Dylan Brooks, 19 each for Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton. Then the win against the against the Spurs, 28 points, 23 rebounds, and 18 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 28 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 16 points for Steven Adams, 18 for Keldon Johnson and 17 for Roby. And then back-to-back wins against the Spurs, 35 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., 26 for Dylan Brooks, 25 points, 17 rebounds, and 17 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 17 for Base Diop and 14 each for Devin Vassell and Doug McDermott. And then the win against the Pacers, 19 for Nembhard, 17 for Jabari Smith, 27 points, 18 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant. So a triple-double, and 26 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. Then we move on. We simulate all of January into February. So we'll go from January 14th to February 5th. So we'll simulate through. So we end up taking a win over the Suns. So we'll check the win over the Suns. A 50-piece and 17 rebounds for Ja Morant. So a double-double. 20 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., 18 for Crowder, and 17 points each for both Mikal Bridges and Miles Bridges. Then we move on into the rest of simulate the rest of January. So we'll simulate through. Take a win against the Cavs, a win against the Lakers, lose by 1 to the Suns, lose to the Kings, win against Golden State, win against the Pacers, win against Minnesota. And we'll go to February 5th. We win against Portland to start February. We win against the Cavs. And we also win against Toronto. So as of February 5th, I got 43 wins and 10 losses. So we'll check the win against the Cavs. 41 points, 15 rebounds, and 14 assists. So a triple-double. 29 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 21 for Garland, 16 for Mitchell. And then the win against the Lakers, 22 points and 10 rebounds for Davis, so a double-double. 20-piece for LeBron, 41 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 18 for Dillon Brooks. Then the 1-point loss to the Suns, 37 points for Booker, 14 for Chris Paul. 33 points, 15 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 28 for Dillon Brooks, and Jaren Jackson Jr. with 18 points and 10 rebounds, so a double-double. And then the loss to the Kings, 24 points and 10 assists for De'Aaron Fox, so a double-double. 32 points and 12 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 26 for Jaren Jackson Jr. And then the win against the Golden State, 24 points for Curry, 22 for Clay, 51 points and 16 rebounds coming from Ja Morant, so a double-double. 24 for Dillon Brooks. Then we move on to the win against Minnesota, 23 for Anthony Edwards, 16 for Rudy Gobert, 38 points, 18 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 22 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. Then the win against the Pacers, 49 points and 11 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 31 for Dillon Brooks, a 30-piece for Buddy Hield and Matterhorn with 22. And then the win to start February against Portland, 37 for Dillon Brooks, 32 points and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 21 points for Dame Lillard. Then the win against the Cavs, a 30-piece for Donovan Mitchell, 28 for Ricky Rubio, 41 points and 12 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 13 for Jaren Jackson Jr. Then the win against the Raptors. We'll check the All-Star draft. So it's going to be Team Ja against Team Giannis. So Ja gets your captain. And he's starting alongside LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Trae Young. And your reserves are Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, Pascal Siakam, SGA, and Domantas Sabonis. Then we got Team Giannis as your captain, and your starters for Team Giannis is Giannis, James Harden, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, DeMar DeRozan, Zion, and LaMelo. And then we move, we'll better check the box score for the Raptors game. 44 points, 16 rebounds, and 16 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 26 for Dillon Brooks, 22 for Fred VanVleet, and 16 for Scotty Barnes. And we go through the rest of February. So we go from February 5th to February 28th, so we'll simulate through. We take a loss to the Bulls. We take a win against Minnesota. We win against Boston. And then we re-simulate to February 28th. We lose coming into All-Star against the Jazz, so All-Star happens. Then we win against the 76ers, lose to Denver, and then win against Lakers on the end of February. So we got a 47-13 record on February 28th. So we'll check the loss to Bulls. 25 points, 16 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so another triple-double. 16 for Dylan Brooks, 26 for DeRozan, 21 for Zach LaVine. And then the win against Minnesota, 46 points, 16 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 20 points and 11 rebounds for Jaren Jackson Jr., so a double-double. 41 for Anthony Edwards, D'Lo with 24. And then the win against the Celtics, 31 for Jaylen Brown, 23 for Jason Tatum, 38 points, 12 rebounds, and 17 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 35 points for Dylan Brooks. And then the loss against the Jazz, 27 points, 19 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant. So another triple-double, 20 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 24 for Colin Sexton, and Walker Kessler with 20 points. And then the Rising Stars game, Team World get the 121-106 win. 20 for Paolo Banchero, 19 for Fran Wagner. And then the All-Star game, Team Ja get the 128-115 win. Team Giannis had top scorer with Tatum with 29. Ja Morant top scored with 38 points and 10 assists, so a double-double. And then the win against the Sixers, 27 for Embiid, 20 for Tobias Harris, and 18 points and 13 assists for Harden, so a double-double. 54 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a 50-point triple-double. 23 points for Dylan Brooks. And then the loss to Denver, 32 points and 10 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 21 for Dylan Brooks and 16 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists for the Joker, so a triple-double. 20 for Bones Highland. And then the win against LA, 28 points, 18 rebounds, and 15 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 20-piece for Dylan Brooks, 18 for LeBron James, 17 for Dennis Schroeder, and Lonnie Walker with 16. And we move into March, so we'll go from March 1st to March 26th. So we'll simulate through. We'll re-simulate again. And we take a win against the Rockets, a win against Denver, lose to the Clippers, win against the Lakers, win against Golden State, lose to the Mavs, win against the Mavs in the back-to-back, then win against Miami, win against the Spurs, win against Golden State, win against the Mavs, back-to-back wins against the Rockets, and then lose to the Atlanta Hawks on March 26th. So we'll check so we got a record of 58 wins and 16 losses as of March 26th. So we'll check the win against the Rockets. 20-piece for Jalen Green and Tal Eason with 17 points and 10 rebounds, so a double-double. 46 points and 19 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. Then the win against Denver, a 20-piece for MPJ, Aaron Gordon with 18. A 30-piece for Jaren Jackson Jr., 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 17 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 23 points for Dylan Brooks. And then the loss against the Clippers, 20-piece for Paul George, 16 for Kawhi, 36 points, 20 rebounds, and 15 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 18 for Dylan Brooks. And then the win against the Lakers by 2, 20 points and 10 rebounds for Anthony Davis, so a double-double. 19 for LeBron and 16 for Westbrook. A 40-piece and 11 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 22 for Dylan Brooks. Then the win against Golden State, 49 points, 16 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 18 for Dylan Brooks and 13 for Jake LaRavia. And then the loss to the Mavs, 29 points and 14 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 20 for Dylan Brooks, 28 points for Luka, 18 for Spencer Dinwiddie, and 16 points and 12 rebounds for Christian Wood, so a double-double. And then the back-to-back wins against the Mavs, so we get the win this time. 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists for Luka, so a triple-double. 45 points, 17 rebounds for Ja, so a double-double. 25 points for Dylan Brooks. Then the win against Miami, 33 for Bam, 16 for Tyler Hero, and 15 for Butler. 35 points and 15 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 20 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. And in the win against the Spurs, 15 points for Paletti with 13 rebounds, so a double-double. 26 points, 21 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. Then the win against Golden State, 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 17 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 25 for Steph Curry, 22 for Clay, and 20 for Jordan Poole. Then the win against the Mavs, 34 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 18 for Dylan Brooks and 16 for Jaren Jackson Jr. 37 points for Luka Doncic with 12 rebounds, so a double-double. 14 for Tim Hardaway. And in the win against the Rockets, 39 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 16 for Zari Williams and 16 for Santi Aldama. And in the back-to-back wins against the Rockets, 51 points, 14 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a 50-point triple-double. 19 for Dylan Brooks, 18 for Seagun, and 17 for Jalen Green. In the loss to Atlanta, a 40-piece for Trae Young, 21 for Bogdanovic, 26 points and 16 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double, but he fouls out. Jaren Jackson Jr. was 16. Then we move on and we'll finish March into April. So we'll go from March 26th to April 7th. So we'll simulate through. So we take a win against Magic. So we'll check the win for that. 39 points and 17 rebounds for Ja Morant. So a double-double. 27 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., 32 points for Paolo Banchero, 16 points and 12 assists for Markelle Fultz, so a double-double. So we'll go from March 28th to April 7th, so we'll simulate through. We take a win against the back-to-back wins against the Clippers to finish March. Then we start April with a loss to the Bulls, then win against Portland, win against New Orleans, and then lose to Giannis's Bucks. So as of April 7, we've got 63 wins and 18 losses. So we'll check the back-to-back wins against the Clippers. 25 points, 18 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 18 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 23 points for Paul George, 21 for Kawhi Leonard. And back-to-back win against LA. 57 points, 10 rebounds, and 15 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 21 for Dylan Brooks, 17 points and 11 rebounds for Jaren Jackson Jr., so a double-double. 34 for Paul George, 20 for John Wall. And in the loss to the Bulls, 31 for DeMar DeRozan, 24 for Vucevic, and 21 for Zach LaVine. 42 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 21 for Jaren Jackson Jr. And in the win against Portland, a 30-point game with 10 rebounds and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 22 for Jaren Jackson Jr., 21 for Jeremy Grant, 18 for Little. And in the win against New Orleans, 30-piece for Zion, 22 for Ingram, and 17 for CJ McCollum. 41 points, 16 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 28 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 23 for Dylan Brooks. Then the loss to Giannis's Bucks, 38 points and 19 rebounds for Giannis Antetokounmpo, so a double-double. 21 points and 15 rebounds for Ja Morant, but for a double-double, but he fouls out. 21 for Dylan Brooks. Then we go into the last game with a record of 63 wins and 18 losses. So we'll simulate the last game against the Thunder, and we get the win. So at 5'4", 99 overall, Ja Morant ends up with MVP with 37 points per game, 15.7 rebounds per game, and 11.5 assists per game. So he's averaging a triple-double for the season. So Ja Morant, your MVP. Rookie of the Year goes to Paolo Banchero. Kelly Olynyk gets Sixth Man of the Year. Ja Morant at 5'4" also gets Defensive Player of the Year. Emerald quickly gets Most Improved. And Coach of the Year goes to Taylor Jenkins with 64 wins and 18 losses, so we'll advance through. So All-NBA first team is Ja Morant at 5'4", Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Jokic. All NBA second team is Trae Young, SGA, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Embiid. All NBA third team is LaMelo Ball, Harden, Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown, and Davis. All defensive first team is Ja Morant, Lonzo Ball, Giannis, Evan Mobley, and Davis. All defensive second team is Luka Doncic, Ben Simmons, Draymond Green, Jason Tatum, and Miles Turner. All rookie first team is Paolo Banchero, Walker Kessler, Jalen Duran, Keegan Murray, and Chet Holmgren. So we'll advance on to the playoffs. So 5'4", 99 overall, Ja Morant took Memphis to the first seed. So we'll simulate the play-in. So it's Minnesota, Portland, and Sacramento and Houston in the West play-in. And the East play-in is going to be New York, Indiana, Toronto, and Brooklyn. So we'll simulate the play-ins. So it's going to be the first seed Memphis against Houston, Phoenix against Dallas, LA, New Orleans, Denver, Portland in the West. Then in the East is going to be Boston, Indiana, Atlanta, Cleveland, Philly, Milwaukee, and Chicago, New York. So we'll get into it. So we'll get into the series between Memphis and Houston. So we'll simulate game one. And Memphis take game one. 140 to 109, 51 points, 20 rebounds, and 16 assists for Ja Morant, so a 50-point triple-double, 16 for Dillon Brooks, 19 for Seagun, 16 for Eason, and 15 for KPJ. We move on to Game 2, and we'll simulate Game 2. And Memphis have a 2-0 lead, 155 to 104 win. 48 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 29 for Dillon Brooks, 17 for Seagun, 14 for Jalen Green, and 14 for Jabari Smith Jr. And then we move on to Game 3 of the series, see if Houston can come back. Houston do come back in Game 3. They get the 131 to 106 win. Jalen Green with 29, Kenyon Martin Jr. with 18, and Tal Eason with 18. 21 points, 15 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 17 for Dillon Brooks and 17 for Jaren Jackson Jr. So we move on to Game 4, and we'll simulate Game 4. And Houston come back in Game 4 to level it up 2-all. 129 to 124 win. 33 for Jalen Green, 18 for KPJ, and 16 for Seagun. 36 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 18 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 17 for Dillon Brooks. So I'll move on to Game 5 of Round 1 against Houston and Memphis. So I'll simulate Game 5. And Memphis come back to lead the series 3-2. They get the 114 to 96 win. 29 points, 17 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 22 for Dillon Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. with 20. 18 for Tate, 15 for Eason, and 12 for Christopher. Move on to Game 6, and we'll simulate Game 6. And Memphis end up beating Houston in 6 games. They get the 147-114 win. 22 for Seagun, 21 for Jabari Smith Jr., 56 points, 16 rebounds, and 12 assists for Ja Morant, so a 50-point triple-double. 24 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and 20 for Dillon Brooks. So it's going to be Memphis against Dallas, New Orleans, Portland, Boston, Cleveland, Chicago, Philly. So we'll get into the Memphis-Dallas series. So we'll simulate Game 1. And Memphis take Game 1, 112 to 93. 42 points and 17 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 19 for Dillon Brooks. 34 points and 12 rebounds for Luka, so a double-double. 13 points and 12 rebounds for Christian Wood, so a double-double. Move on to Game 2, and we'll simulate Game 2. And Memphis take a 2-0 lead. They get the 123-101 win. 36 points and 16 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 21 for Dillon Brooks, 22 for Spencer Dinwiddie, 15 points and 10 rebounds for Luka Doncic, so a double-double. We'll move on to Game 3, and we'll simulate Game 3. And the Mavs come back in Game 3 to come back 2-1 in the series. 130 to 116 win to the Mavs. 41 points, 10 rebounds, and 18 assists for Luka Doncic, so a triple-double. 20 for Christian Wood. A 40-piece with 13 rebounds and 14 assists for Ja Morant and 22 for Dillon Brooks. So move on to Game 4. We'll simulate Game 4. And Dallas have locked it back up 2-all in Game 4. 51 points, 15 rebounds, and 13 assists for Luka Doncic, so a triple-double. 24 for Spencer Dinwiddie. A 40-point game for Ja Morant. 28 for Dillon Brooks. We move on to Game 5, and we'll simulate Game 5. And Memphis come back and take Game 5 and go up 3-2. 129-109 win. 48 points and 18 rebounds for Ja, so a double-double. 36 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., 25 points and 13 assists for Luka, so a double-double. 20 points for Tim Hardaway Jr. and 20 points for JaVale McGee. We move on to Game 6 and we'll simulate Game 6. And Memphis end up beating Dallas in 6. 144-127. 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 14 assists for Luka Doncic, so a triple-double. 20 points for Christian Wood. 31 points and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so a double-double. 31 for Dillon Brooks. So it's going to be Memphis against New Orleans in the finals in the West. And in the finals in the East, it's going to be Boston against Chicago. So we'll simulate Game 1. So we'll simulate Game 1 of the finals. And 1-0 goes up to Memphis. They take Game 1, 128-115. 31 points, 19 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 24 points for Dillon Brooks and 21 for Jaren Jackson Jr. So another triple-double for Ja Morant. Brandon Ingram with 18, CJ McCollum with 17, and Joe Salabaro with 16. And we'll move on to Game 2, and we'll simulate Game 2. And Memphis have gone back up to a 2-0 lead like they do in every other series. 146-123. 51 points, 14 rebounds, and 14 assists for Ja Morant, so a triple-double. 31 for Dillon Brooks and 25 for Jaren Jackson Jr. A 30-piece and 10 rebounds for Zion Williamson, so a double-double. 25 for Brandon Ingram. So we'll move on to Game 3 and we'll simulate Game 3. And Memphis are up 3-0. They get the 136-120 win. 33 points for Zion, 17 for Brandon Ingram, and 16 for Trey Murphy. 55 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists for Ja Morant, so another triple-double. 19 points for Dillon Brooks, but he fouled out. Move on to Game 4 and see if New Orleans can come back in the series. We'll simulate Game 4. And no, they can't. New Orleans end up getting swept, and Western Conference Finals MVP goes to Ja Morant as they swept New Orleans 4-0. 158-154 win in overtime. 29 points and 12 rebounds for Ingram, so a double-double. 28 points for Zion, 24 for Trey Murphy. 67 points, 12 rebounds for Ja Morant, so a double-double, and this is career high for the season. 23 for Jaren Jackson Jr. We move into the finals, so it's going to be Grizzlies against Celtics. So can 5'99" overall Ja Morant take Grizzlies all the way past the Celtics to win the finals? We'll see. So we'll simulate Game 1, and Grizzlies take Game 1, 130-124. 39 points for Ja Morant, 27 for Jaren Jackson Jr., and 20 for Tyus Jones. 32 for Jaylen Brown, 28 for Jason Tatum, and 21 for Malcolm Brogdon. Move on to Game 2, and we'll simulate Game 2 of the finals. And Grizzlies are up 2-0. 37 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists for Ja Morant's triple-double to get the 127-126 win. 23 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and Dillon Brooks with 20 points. A 40-piece for Tatum, 35 for Brogdon, and 20 for Jaylen Brown. Move on to Game 3, and we'll simulate Game 3 of the finals. And Grizzlies are up 3-0. They get the 139-116 win. Tatum with 35, Jaylen Brown with 22. A 50-point game with 13 rebounds and 10 assists for Ja Morant, so another 50-point triple-double. 24 for Dillon Brooks and 18 for Jaren Jackson Jr. Can Celtics come back in Game 4 to make it a series in the finals? So we'll simulate Game 4 and see what happens. And no, Memphis end up sweeping 4-0 as Ja Morant walks away with Finals MVP. So he ends up with Western Conference. He ends up with the Finals MVP. He ends up with the Western Conference Finals MVP, season MVP, like regular season MVP, and Defensive Player of the Year at 5'4", 99 overall. Ja Morant ended up carrying the Grizzlies team all the way to the finals, and they end up winning it 4-0 over the Celtics, as they ended up becoming the first seed with 64 wins and 18 losses for the season, as they ended up playing Houston in the first round and beat them 4-2. Ended up playing so it goes into the second round to play Dallas, and they beat them, and Memphis beat Dallas 4-2. And then we go into the finals against New Orleans in the West, and we beat New Orleans 4-0. And then we come into the finals, and the Grizzlies end up beating the Celtics 4-0. So for all you viewers that are watching this video and enjoying it, don't forget to smash that like button. And for all you new viewers out there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as I'm on that road to 1,300 subs. And I appreciate every single one of you that hits that subscribe button, as that's another video in the books. And that's NZ Blazin out. And we'll catch you in the next episode. NZ Blazin out.